Hello and welcome to Kopites Calling with Dave and Nik. The first thing we need to discuss is Nik is finally back. Nik is back with us today, and I am so incredibly happy to have him back after some commitments he had over the last week. And he actually played in an alumni soccer game this weekend. So how'd that go, Nik?
Well, it wasn't easy right now. I'm feeling it this morning. You could say that I'm not in the same shape I was, meaning I'm still in decent shape, but I'm not playing soccer every day to what I was doing, 3-4 years ago. I wish I could play soccer every day, but obviously, like you had mentioned, there's more commitments in my life than that. But no, it's always good to get a run out and to go out and just play the sport you love. It's kind of like riding a bike sometimes. It's awkward when you get a little bit older and you come back to the alumni games because like you still have the motor skills of a soccer player, but you can't run and cut as fast as you used to play. So it's really a wake up call the next morning whenever you're moving your body in different ways as you do in soccer, and then you wake up and you're like, oh man, I need to get some water in me quickly because I'm cramping.
But Nik, you scored a goal.
Yeah. No, look, it's like I had said, you don't forget the motor skills. So, having been a forward, the composure to score the goal against the current college team that I played for, and that's the whole point of the alumni game. You come back, you play against the current team with some of the alumni. Good to see guys you haven't seen in a couple of years. But I'm not gonna lie, Dave. It was a very well worked goal that I scored off of. It was to those that don't know, my good buddy that. Justin Carey, I played with at Mary Washington school I went to. He played a nice little one-time pass to me in the box. It was a little bit of a dummy shot. Let's say he could have had a one-time finish himself, but instead he was unselfish and played a nice little disguised pass to me. I took a touch and just slotted it into the corner. Definitely rewound the clocks back for that sort of play, but it was a well-worked goal. It was a fun game. Last year for the alumni game, we didn't play 11v11. This year we played 11v11, and like I had said, I'm kind of feeling it this morning. But still very fun, beautiful day in Virginia to play. Like I said, went out and had lunch with a couple of guys I hadn't seen in a while. But it's always fun to get, whenever you have people that you haven't seen in a while going to those games. It makes it a lot easier of a decision for you to go out and play as well. So it was fun, good time.
Good.
We ended up alumni ended up losing, but only by one goal, so still kind of acceptable in my opinion.
Absolutely, yes.
But yeah, really good time. It's just let's just say after we're done recording this episode, I'm gonna go hit some yoga or stretches because I think I need them.
I hear you. Well, on to the game at hand, and what we were really wanted to discuss on the Kopites Calling show is, I guess the biggest thing to take from this, Nik, is we were playing at Craven Cottage, which is the home of Fulham, and the starting lineup. I don't know if there's much else really to talk about in the initial stages other than this starting lineup, which actually Nik saw 5 changes from the game midweek with Atalanta, and there were 6 changes from the Crystal Palace Premier League game last Sunday. This was, Nik, the first time that Jurgen Klopp has ever made that many changes from one Premier League match to another Premier League match. I was completely surprised at the lineup. Thoughts? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll get into the lineup, but I do agree that it was surprising, but also not surprising in a sense where it's like, with how out of form we've been these past couple of weeks, I think Klopp is fed up with his players. Not that he's fed up. I think that he has to show these guys, like, hey, like, we have to do whatever we can do to make this work. And by make this work, I mean get 3 points, because that's the situation we're in the Premier League. So it's like if he has to, send guys that just have not been performing to the best of their abilities to the bench, that's just what you have to do as a coach. You have to make them realize that, I hate to say the word expendable, but you have to make them realize that they can be expendable at times, and I think that he is the type of coach to do that. Not many coaches want that sort of backlash from their players of like, why you're not starting me. I'm sure they're all frustrated that they weren't starting, the ones that are typical starters. I'm sure they were, but Klopp's not going to have any of that. Klopp's not a coach that lets his players walk all over him, is what I'm trying to say. So I think that he wanted to show that, hey, we're in a situation where we still have, albeit an outside chance, we still have a chance at the Premier League. So I'm going to put a lineup out there that I think can get the job done without having my heavy hitters out there as well. So I give all the credit to him. I agree with you, Dave, where it was a weird lineup when you see it, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Well, for me, Nick, it was definitely Jurgen Klopp making a statement. When you look at the bench and you see Mo Salah, Curtis Jones, Alexis McAllister, Darwin Nunez, Dominic Szoboszlai, all on the bench. And you're looking at the starting lineup. And, I mean, I think he was really kind of – and there could be an alternate way to look at it, too, is, we also have a midweek game this week against Everton at Goodison Park. So maybe there was part of that, but I truly believe, Nick, that Jurgen is a manager who understands that he needs all of his players. He's going to need, especially this time of year, so many games these guys have played, just so many, and legs are tired, mind's not quite as sharp as it was. There's just so much going on. You had the disappointment with Atalanta and knowing that Europa League had gone away. I think this was definitely an opportunity for Jurgen to say, we got to re-energize the guys that are sitting right now.
Agreed. I think re-energize, and there's another word out there, reset. Sometimes you got to have these little resets in the season, right? It's like, let's get back, let's reset, back to the drawing board for a little bit here. Let's take a chance here, and this is what I'm going to do. And you guys have to trust me. Everyone in Liverpool, especially after the Atalanta debacle, where you did. Again, apologies to all. Like, I wasn't able to make that episode, but you had broke it down. Whenever we went up 1-0, you would have thought we were going to turn that game around, and then it was stale that entire game. The rest of the game, there wasn't even a chance we were going to come back, even after we scored a penalty in the first 5 minutes. So I think he needed to get everyone bought in again, because, like I had said, there is still an opportunity. At this, there is. Like, I hate to say, like, I've tried not to be optimistic, but I want to have faith that maybe sometimes there are going to be slip-ups with City and Arsenal. And he has to reset the team to be like, look, this is what we have to play for moving forward. While it is unfortunate that we aren't in as comfortable a position as we'd like to be in the Premier League, we still have to make sure that we're getting these 3 points to pressure the other teams.
Well, at this point in time, Liverpool basically needs perfection over these last 6 matches. That is a sobering thought, considering where we were and what we had been doing prior to the last few weeks. When I looked at the lineup, talk to me about it. I don't know. I was kind of like, there were a couple things that I was kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, agreed. So starting, I'll just give the rundown. Starting from the back, Alisson, as we expected, keeping his position with the center back pairing of being Kwanzaa, Van Dijk, Trent coming in at right back, left back being Andy Robertson. So the true, that duo of the right back, left back of Andy and Robbo that we've had for years and years back on the pitch again. Midfield 3, which I think all of us stared at the midfield 3, including you, Dave, and was like, that's the midfield 3 we're going with. Which was Endo, Gravenberch, and Harvey Elliott. Front 3, again, you could say a little weird, but also considering the form of Mo and Darwin, it kind of made sense. We had Jota through the middle with Diaz on the right and Cody off the left, actually. So Diaz was actually playing on the right wing as opposed to coming in off the left as what he normally does. It definitely, when that lineup came out, and you and I are in agreement, all eyes were on that midfield.
Yeah. Because that had been where we had been kind of controlling things through our midfield. We have discussed it numerous times. It was Harvey Elliott as a starter is not Harvey Elliott as the super sub. Seeing him starting this game, there was a little bit of concern that what's he going to produce for us. Seeing Ryan Gravenberch in there, I was honestly just not impressed. I would have liked to have seen, I don't know, Jones for Gravenberch, and then I might have been a little bit more okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, agreed.
So it was, to me, it was a very, very bold move on Jurgen's part. And I think he was basically setting himself up, because if this thing worked, everybody be going, all right, the manager got it right. If this thing didn't work and something happened weird in the first half and we ended up, Liverpool was chasing the game, I think that that would be a real telling thing for his final season at Liverpool, because the Premier League would go away.
Yeah, a lot was riding on it, when that lineup came out. I think, to your point, had things gone wrong with this lineup, those fans out there would have been like, well, what the hell was Jurgen doing? So luckily, we'll get into it, but it was definitely from the first whistle, I didn't know what to expect.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, at least there was really no pressure early from Fulham, as other teams had been, producing those scares early for us in the game. Liverpool started out with a lot of possession, but it was possession, Nick, that was just back. I mean, at one point there must have been, I don't know, 6-7 passes between Kwanzaa and Allison. I mean, it was just back and forth. I mean, there was nothing happening. I mean, we were possessing the ball. Fulham wasn't getting the ball, so there was no chance for them to scare us at that point in time. But it was possession that was
going nowhere.
Say that again?
Going nowhere.
And it was going nowhere. We were not going forward.
Yeah, Allison could have literally played at center back with Kwanzaa and Van Dijk, and they could have had a little passing triangle. But Fulham wouldn't really care, because they're not going down their end.
Right. And then, finally we started seeing some things kind of change a little bit. And like in the 8th minute, we saw something really good Fulham was playing a pretty high line. We saw Liverpool kind of break them down a little bit and get a corner out of it. It resulted in nothing. But still, there was that little bit of an opening salvo from Liverpool saying, okay, well, this is what we can do. And then I was seeing, I've praised him a number of times, but again, just have to say that Kwanzaa was very calm in the 10th minute and just made a really nice little defensive stop. But then there was a very worrisome slip by Andy Robertson in the 12th minute, and I'm like, here it is, man. This is where it's going to happen. But he had to go back and, I don't know, as you have said before by Virgil, some kind of a drink at the bar or whatever, because Virgil saved him whenever Robbo slipped.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, Fulham had a free kick in the 13th minute. We were able to actually clear it, but it was a dangerous ball from Fulham. I mean, it really, really was a dangerous ball. And we got out of that little bit of a problem area with nothing, so I was not yet comfortable, but I was kind of going, all right, well, we got this far without conceding anything.
Yeah, which is crazy to say, right? It's like, we're so used to conceding like the first 15 minutes that we're like, wow, this is what it feels like to not concede in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah. And one other special little note that I want to make here, the traveling Liverpool fans were absolutely incredible today. They were incredible today. Those fans were all that I heard through Craven Cottage. I didn't even know if Fulham had any fans there today. The Liverpool fans were that vocal. It was really, really, really nice to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, we went, we talked about this in a previous episode of Kopites Calling. I mean, I think sometimes traveling fans, what you're going to get, right? I mean, there's not many of those touristy fans that are going to make the trip to Craven Cottage, in London.
Uh-huh.
So you're going to get the diehards that are going on this trip. And to your point, I didn't hear a single. I don't even know. I mean, like I wouldn't really know what a Fulham song is if I heard one anyway. But it didn't really matter because all the Liverpool songs were louder anyway.
Yeah,
so
they were drowning them out.
Yeah, exactly. So it was. Sometimes Anfield is a victim of the tourists of fans, that aren't really the diehards, and it can get times not as loud. And we've made this point, before, that sometimes our traveling fans are louder than our home fans. Which, look, it's all dependent on the game as well. Like I said, I don't think those casual viewers are buying a bus ticket or a train ticket to Fulham on a Sunday to watch a team at Craven Cottage. I would love to. I know you would love to, but there's certain people out there that wouldn't. So I do agree that the fans were great.
Yep. And then, Virgil doing Virgil things, man, he had just a wonderful defensive play. He had to get it right, and he got it right. And that kind of saved a bit of a possible goal scoring threat from Fulham at that point. I was starting to see just a couple of things start really, I was starting to see some really good little passes, not good little passes, but good passing from Trent. There was a nice ball from that started with Trent, went to Diaz, went to Jota, it went off Jota's knee, out of bounds. But I was really happy to see Trent Alexander-Arnold starting to find his passing game again.
Agreed. I mean, he's I would say he's probably the best passer in the world whenever he's fit. I mean, he can literally start a counter attack from our own end. There's not many players that can do that in today's game, but he can do it.
Right, absolutely. 27th minute, Nik Gakpo went down. Free kick. I didn't see much in it. It looked to me like he went down pretty quickly, very easily. He's a big man, and he went down pretty easy. If I'd have been a Fulham fan, I'd been going, there really wasn't much there. The best thing for a Liverpool fan is it was within range. And so we had Elliott and Trent over the ball. I don't know what happened.
Let's forget what happened. It was I don't know. I genuinely don't know why. I don't even know what to say about it. It was benefit of the doubt, right? I can see the idea. I knew you could have seen the idea, right?
Yes, I mean, to me, there is no other person to take any free kick in that location but Trent. Why Elliott even took it there surprised me, number one.
Exactly.
Number two, the feeble little kick that he had was, I mean, it was really not worth the time to sit out there and talk about it that they did.
Exactly that. I think that's what I was trying to get at, is that the idea being going underneath the wall, you either look like a genius when it pulls off, or you look like a big dummy when it doesn't.
Yeah.
And there's no two ways about it, right? I mean, and I don't even think it had the wall jumped. I don't even think Elliott had enough power on the shot to get to the goal. There was like nothing on it. It was a feeble sort of effort. I don't disagree with having a lefty take that shot, because it is kind of in the lefty sort of range, and you can kind of get that bend on it that a lefty can generate if you're going over the wall. It was just bad. There's no ways about it. It was just bad. It was a wasted, I think it's always funny, right? Whenever, I think we talked about this as well, is like whenever you set up a free kick, or Liverpool sets up a free kick, and like there's talking, and then it leads to nothing. Like, so we pretty much did all that for what? Why don't we just at least try to get a shot on target?
Right. Absolutely. We did have a chance to kind of rectify that whole situation in the 31st minute when we had Jota was fouled outside the box. When I saw this setting up, I was like, there's no way in the world. This is only going to be Trent. No, everybody else just get away. Trent's taking this. And boy, did he ever take it.
I mean, picture perfect. I mean, he didn't even really need a lot of power because the placement was already there. The bend was there. That it was a strike that was so pure in how clean it was, if that makes sense. I mean, it wasn't powerful, but it was just the technique on it, right into the top corner. No chance for Leno. I mean, it's almost like when Trent steps up to a free kick sometimes, he knows he's that good now that he can just literally put anything on target. It's almost like a sort of swagger he has whenever he's on a free kick that's like, okay, you know, this is going to be on target no matter what. I'm making the keeper make a play. And the keeper could have made no play on this. He just, Trent plays like he knows he's the best player out there sometimes. And that's what he did in this free kick.
There was just, I mean, it really was an amazing shot. And if you look at that thing, they had some, for the benefit of those at home watching, like we were, they had like an aerial view. There's not a keeper in the world can save that ball.
No,
There's nobody going to save that ball.
And that's the cool thing about it, right? It's like no keeper saving that, and the strike itself isn't that powerful, but the placement and the swerve and the curve on it and the technique. I mean, sometimes you don't need to beat a keeper with power. How many times do you hear that? It's one of the things you can preach on free kicks is like, as long as you place it right, there's no way a keeper can stop it.
Right. So all this to say that Liverpool actually had a lead in the first half.
Crazy. Never happened.
I'm taking my notes as I always do. And I put, we had a lead in the first half, 3 exclamation points. I mean, that's how big this was.
Yeah.
And the thing that was worrying me though, we have not scored really in the last few games in the run of play. So This is another goal that was scored on a set piece. It still wasn't scored in the run of play. So there is some concern creeping. As much as I'm saying, hey, we're in the lead, there's a little bit of concern creeping into my thoughts, because I'm like, we're not scoring on the run of play.
Yeah, no, it is for a Klopp team. It's worrisome, right? Because normally that's like Klopp's bread and butter, is that we're not really a set piece focused team. We're a run of play, take it to you. We're going to destroy you through the run of play sort of team under Klopp. So I guess it's also good to know that whenever those aren't flowing, we have a guy like Trent that can step up and put the ball in the back of the net from a set piece.
Absolutely. We needed Allison to be big in the 41st minute. Endo, I thought, was just kind of hanging around the ball too long a little bit. He went down. There was a little, I don't know, for whatever reason, he went down. But Allison made it is not one of those saves that you're going to say, oh my God, that was brilliant. But it really was a big save. It was a one-handed, his right hand just kind of glove at the bottom. I mean, it was a big save. It wasn't a beautiful save, but it was a big save.
Yeah, agreed. Not much more else to say. I mean, it's a save he should be making, 10 times out of 10, in my opinion, for a guy of his quality.
And then we had a breakaway, and I'm watching Gakpo running with the ball. He's looking pretty good, and I know you saw it the same as I saw it. We had runners on both sides. We had Trent on the right and Diaz on the left, and I think that Gakpo's decision making, he held on to the ball a little bit too long. He finally got it out to Trent. Not a bad ball, but I think he was just holding on to it too long.
Yeah, how many times have we caught ourselves saying that about Gakpo all season? Is this, similar to what a lot of players in Liverpool are struggling with right now with their decision making in the final third?
Yeah,
and that was, point blank another issue where it's like, dude, I don't know. It's something that needs to be worked on in training. I know we talk about how they can work on it in training. You just have to. I don't know. It's just not flowing like it could have flowed in that move, right? We had the runners, we had the numbers,
right?
Led to nothing.
Right. And then kind of after that happened, then as kind of seems to happen with Liverpool, if you're a fan, it. Things are getting really dicey for us and very nervy around the box. Everything's kind of going around, and the 46th minute, there's a ball kind of I don't know, Gravenberch should have closed down on the ball. He didn't do anything. And Castagne puts the ball on the back of the net, 47th minute, back of the net. Instead of going in 1-0, we're going in 1-1. And I think collectively as a team and as fans, we all just kind of had this, oh no, you know, this moment of deflation.
Exactly that. I mean, because whenever we went up 1-0, I was like, this is going to be a steady 3-0 win. We'll get to in the second half, and we'll get out of here at 3 points. I mean, I know I texted you. It's like, I guess it doesn't matter if we go up or down. It's always going to be. It just doesn't matter. It was shambolic defending all around. But I have to signal out. You mentioned I had to signal out Ryan Gravenberch. Why he is not closing out Timothy Castagne there, and he's making Robbo, who was behind him, try to go put a foot out. The lack of effort there from Gravenberch. And I'm not even really saying that Gravenberch would have stopped the shot, but he stood and didn't act like he needed to close him down. And it's like when you're making Robbo come from a left back position to try to go stop a shot from the attacking player that full. I mean, it was when you would see the replay of it, you didn't really know who to blame. And I'm not blaming Gravenberch, because like I said, I don't think he really would have been able to do much, but he would have made it a little bit more awkward for the guy. And he didn't even do that. He didn't even do that.
Absolutely. I mean, I was not seeing, Gravenberch to me is still a player who I think has to earn his Liverpool jersey. He hasn't earned it yet. I'm not seeing a lot from him. We go in halftime. As always, Nick, we had 66% of the possession. They had 34. Shots on just total shots, they had 7. We had 7. On goal, we had 3. They had 2. We had 3 corners. They had 1. We made 2 saves. Fulham made 1. So who's your player? Who was your standout player first half?
Trent. I think it was after seeing what he did with that free kick and him finding his range and his passes. I mean, it's just a shame when you think about. Look, I think we're all glad of the emergence of Connor Bradley whenever Trent was out for that prolonged period. But sometimes when Trent comes back and plays the way he did in that first half, we're like, man, what if we had him still? He didn't get hurt. I hate to say that, right? Because
absolutely,
it's all credit to Connor Bradley for what he did. But Trent is just a generational talent that I still don't think gets the credit he deserves. Because again, it's the collective of England that doesn't give him the credit he deserves, in my opinion. So it's Trent for me.
I don't really think there's anywhere else to look but Trent, and I think you're 100% correct. When you see him playing at the level that he is capable of playing, which I think he is getting back, which is going to do nothing but help Liverpool in this run-in. What might we have done? Full credit to Bradley. I 100% agree. What might we have done with Trent being healthy during that time? The way he sees the field, the way he sees plays developing before they develop.
He sees gaps before we even know they're there.
Exactly. And so to me, it had to be Trent. I did think that Virgil had a strong first half as well. Just want to put that out there. I thought Diaz started well and he kind of faded, but he had a good start. But here's what we're left with, Nick. We're left with a second half with the score 1-1. We're left with a second half that our whole season was riding on the next 45 minutes.
Yep, no other way to say it.
Yeah. And so I'm thinking we're going to start seeing subs in like the 60th minute. I just couldn't imagine that we were going to wait much longer for subs to be made. We had, I was sitting here thinking we had to make the subs. And then all of a sudden, a guy that I was just kind of knocking, Gravenberch, actually had a run of play goal. And, walk me through that, Nick.
To your point, before we get to the goal, had he not had that goal or struck that ball, and he performed in the second half how he performed in the first half, let's be honest, Dave. I would have been like, we got. I don't know is there a return policy on Gravenberg? If
Yeah.
that's if he didn't decide to come up big with this goal, I was like, is Bayern Munich maybe want him back, or is there someone in the Bundesliga we can kind of drop him off at? Because I all credit to him because I think he knew how important that goal was for him because he has not been performing very well. It was a very much a midfielder-esque goal, right? It kind of reminded me of Soboslai when in Soboslai's first couple of months with us, when he would drive in the space and decide to take the shot at the right time. Gravenberg took the shot at the right time, had the power, had the placement. You can't really ask for better placement than it kissing in off the crossbar either, or off the post.
Right.
So I mean, it was a perfect strike, perfect power. Similar to the free kick, no keeper stopping that, right? I mean, because it had pace. That's a shot that had pace and placement. So I mean, it was just a good finish, very good finish. I think that the way he took the space, it was a very effective midfield run. It is something he needed.
Absolutely. To your point, Nick, I was sitting there thinking, man, if he doesn't score that goal, I don't know if there was like an Uber or something that could drive him to the border of Netherlands and just kind of let him off and say, thanks for playing. We'll see you.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, because, that's kind of what I've thought of what he's done so far this year. What he did do today was score his first Premier League goal, and it was probably the most important goal. Well, was it the most important goal? It probably was the most important goal.
Agreed. I mean, I think that it was a goal that it's funny, it's a goal when it went in. I was like, still like, who knows what's going to happen the rest of this game, because that's just how Liverpool's been, right, in the past couple of weeks. But it was one where it was like, okay, if a guy like Gravenberg can come up big when we need him, credit to Klopp for giving him the chance today. And I think that that's one of the things that maybe you can hope for Gravenberg in this run-in is a little more confidence. That's all we can hope for. That's all we can hope for with these players, considering how lack of confidence they've been the past couple of weeks. Maybe it's a time for Gravenberg to step up. Well, guess we'll see.
Absolutely. But what I'm thinking, Nick, is two things. I'm thinking, number one, we definitely needed a third goal. 2-1 at the time the goal was scored, 2-1. I didn't think we could see it. I was questioning whether we could see it out. There's too much time left. And so I'm thinking we have to get a third. And my next thought was, this is where Liverpool needs to be really focused and be really disciplined.
Agreed, because it's the lack of discipline that we've had. It's the lack of discipline. It's the lack of discipline we had in the first half that let Fulham get back in the game with that goal. So I agree with everything you're saying. Echoing, great points. Discipline was what we needed to see this game out.
And then I always sit here and lament that we are the defensive team that makes a mistake and that leads to something. And then I thought Fulham did that, and we had kind of a breakaway with Cody Gakpo, and it kind of went nowhere. That was in the 63rd minute, but whatever. I mean, it didn't go anywhere, but it was still you saw Fulham kind of break a little bit, which was kind of nice to see, really.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's always refreshing to see mistakes that are happening. It's like, oh, maybe we're not the only team that has these weird things happen to.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw it again in the 66th minute. I don't know what the defender was thinking with Fulham, but it was completely risky when he was almost at the top of the box, and Jota had made a really good turn with the ball or something, and this guy kind of poked it over the end line, but that was weird to me.
Yeah, it was. It was just it was a game that wasn't pretty, I don't think, in general, right? I mean, we'll get into it, obviously. I mean, it was a game that Liverpool had control in, but the passage of play wasn't, like, I'm trying to think of the best word to say. It wasn't the prettiest game just to watch. I mean, the ball was kind of getting. It was a lot of deflections happening in the midfield. The midfield battle was a little bit interesting between the R3 and their three. It wasn't a game that I'd be like, hey, if you're not a hardcore soccer fan, I'd be like, don't watch it. You know what I mean? This was the one. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? It's not one that's going to sell the game on a casual viewer.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I certainly understand what you're saying, but
Yeah.
the score's still 2-1. And I'm like, on this is just not good enough. This is not good enough. We need to make subs. We need to make the subs with enough time to actually make a difference. And then Trent Alexander-Arnold, I mean, I know we've been singing his praises. There's no other. He had probably one of the most beautiful switches of fields. And Robbo, as they do all the time, it went from right to left. Robbo had a soft, beautiful touch. He sent it to Gakpo, and there was a really good save by their keeper in the 67th minute.
Yeah, I mean, how many times, like I said, when you got the dynamic duo that's been Trent and Robbo the past couple of years, it's almost like they have an understanding with each other, and you know what I mean. It's those switches of play that Trent has to him. I mean, I don't know. I love watching them. I just love watching those passes because they're so clean, so clean. I mean, again, it was just a great play all around.
Sure was. And then, so I'm seeing, Fulham made some subs, and I'm looking on the sideline, and this is about the 70th minute or so, and I'm looking on the sideline, and I'm seeing some milling about with Mo popping up, and Darwin and Alexis McAllister, and I'm going, okay, we're making subs here as well. Fulham made their subs. We didn't do anything yet. And then, as he does, man, there was a nice ball to Gakpo. The movement that Jota had on this was it's a goal scorer movement, because he cut in front of where Gakpo was to create space. Gakpo had a wonderful assist, and it was a DO goal.
It was the most Yo goal ever. You know what I mean? It was, to your point, his movement. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, he created the space for Gakpo to run in. Gakpo actually timed his pass perfectly for once. Thank goodness for that. The pass was timed perfectly. The weight on the pass was perfect. Jota, just one touch, left foot, right foot, doesn't matter for him. He can score with anything. And thank you very much. There's the DO goal for the day. And like we had been saying the past couple of weeks, Jota's importance these coming games, I think, cannot be overlooked, because he knows how to put the ball in the back of the freaking net. No matter
Absolutely.
how it is, how ugly it is, it does not matter. He's going to put the ball in the back of the net. He's going to get you that insurance goal, and that's exactly what this third goal was.
Absolutely. And then, but here's the weirdest thing about that whole goal. How long did it take VAR to confirm it? What in the world? Why did it take so long to confirm the goal through VAR? That was, to me, I mean, he was completely onside. I don't care what angle you looked at. And I was sitting here going, oh my God, they're going to take this away.
I agreed. I thought they were looking at it so long to find a way to take it away.
Yes.
I was like, so they're looking at this for what? And
Yeah.
I was like, and it was funny because both the commentators are like, I think we can see that with our eyes that's onside. You know what I mean? So it's like, and people are seeing it with VAR. The point of VAR, like we've talked about ad nauseum, is to be able to point out things you can't see with the naked eye. You could see with the naked eye that he was onside.
Absolutely.
So it's like, I was like, are they just finding something to try to get us called? It was why it was reviewed for so long. I just never know anymore.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Just to go off on a tangent for a quick minute here. Nottingham Forest is playing Everton today, and what a travesty that was. Nottingham Forest was denied 2 PKs. I don't know how in the world they weren't. One was a handball in the box, and one was they took the guy down in the box. VAR is a absolute joke.
Yeah, I mean, Forrest came out and made a comment after the game as well. I mean, their admin said that they're extremely disappointed with how that game was handled. Which, I mean, geez, how many times have we seen that now this season where teams have come out after games and having to make a statement about the
Yeah.
refereeing? It's shambolic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but for Nottingham Forest, they're fighting for their very Premier League life right now. I mean, so any point they excuse me, any point they can get is huge, and to be denied, I just, and I don't even think one of them was reviewed.
Yeah, it's and again, it'll be the same old of, oh, we were wrong, we're sorry, and
Yeah,
let's go to the next game where
yeah,
Forest just lost, 2-0 to Everton. It's like, okay,
yeah,
thanks for your apologies.
yeah. But back to Liverpool, we have 2 goals, Nick. 2 goals up through the run of play, and I'm going, wow, okay, surely at 3-1. Surely at 3-1, we can see this out. We made subs. We had Mo come on for Diaz. McAllister came on from Gravenberg. Nunez came on for Jota. Nunez immediately was offside.
Yeah, it's like he never left. I mean, I imagine my shock that 2 seconds into Darwin being subbed on, he's offsides.
But again, all I could hear were Liverpool fans. They were, oh my God, it was incredible. It was like a home game. Anyway, that's my back to the fans. They're awesome. But I just have to say, Virgil van Dijk is a fantastic captain. He's fantastic. This guy's, he's incredible. He's constantly barked. He may get some things wrong when he's defending, and he may have some games that are not as good. That's the life of being a professional. But as a captain, oh my God, he is a phenomenal captain.
Agreed. I agree. I think that he, since Hendo's departure from Liverpool and Virgil taking that captain armband, I think everyone thought it was the right move. But also, it's like, can he handle that pressure of being a Liverpool captain? I think he can, and I think he's a leader in every which way that you can think of.
Absolutely, and it's just so refreshing to see a guy back there who's just in control. It can't be understated how much that helps somebody like an Allison. When you have a guy who's controlling that back line, and that's, it's typically a keeper that's kind of barking orders, but Allison kind of has Virgil's just that vocal, and I think it's tremendous. I really do.
Agreed.
But and then we're getting into like the 79th minute. Fulham's complaining about a foul. I watched that thing a couple times. They're saying their player was fouled right outside the box. I don't even know if Harvey Elliott touched the guy.
I think it's just Fulham trying to get whatever they can get out of the game. Yeah, exactly.
Anything.
Yeah. Also, a quick tangent. I know we got to get to the rest. Actually, I'll wait to the end. But I have a comment about Harvey Elliott and Fulham in general. But I'll wait to the end because we're almost there.
Okay. 80th minute, Gomez for Trent. I was fine with that. Trent had done his thing. It's 3-1. We got the Merseyside. It's all good. 82nd minute, we did have a handball right outside the box. It was Elliott. Nothing came from it. I was actually really happy to see that. Another thing that I wanted to make a note of is Walturo Endo, who had kind of a shaky first half. He seemed to settle down in the second half, and I thought he actually kind of righted the ship and played a pretty strong game second half.
You took the words right. You know me, Dave, because I was going to say that at the end of the game as well. I was like, I was texting you during the game, and his first half he kind of seemed like a bystander. I don't know if he just played too many games in a row, whatever the case may be. Second half, he looked back to the Endo that we know.
Absolutely. Sobo comes in for Gakpo in the 86th minute. Really solid game from Gakpo. We were very hard on him, and I was actually happy to see the kind of game that he had today. What I'm seeing with this performance today, though, is well, we'll get into that. I got that. That's kind of some comments we can make in a minute here. The game wasn't ours yet, though. McAllister turned the ball over in a really bad position, and it was a horrible giveaway in like the 90th minute. It required Allison to be sharp again and make a really good save. He was up to it. He made the save. But there were 6 minutes of stoppage time. The game just kind of worked the way it was supposed to, and it ended with us winning 3-1. And I guess what I was going to say about this performance is, for me, this performance shows that we still have fight in us. We are still able to respond. We have more to give for this race. I think it kind of showed that it is going to take Klopp's belief in players. It is going to take all the squad to make this thing work.
It is. It is. I mean, I when you think ahead to the Merseyside derby midweek, I don't know about you, Dave, but I actually kind of thought that the front three today worked. I think that it with Gakpo getting the assist, Diaz was kind of quiet to your point because he's playing on a off the right, which is what he typically does not play. But I still think he was effective. I don't know. I don't know what Klopp does for the front. You can make a guess that Mo probably starts on Wednesday against Everton. You can make a very, very good educated guess. But I have to give credit where credit's due. I mean, to your point, Gakpo looked lively today, got the assist. It was very much a front three that had good combinations with one another.
Well, what I could see happening, Nick, is we kind of have a little bit of a luxury net right now, because I could see him starting Mo. We want to get Mo confident again. I mean, Mo's, for whatever reason, his confidence is down. We want to get him a little confident again. But I can also see him having a very, very short leash. And if things aren't working, we don't have time to sit there and say, well, we're going to give him more minutes now. No, we don't have time, especially when we got people that are what we saw today with that lineup, front three, capable of coming in and doing something. You're not going to just play Mo just to play Mo if Mo's not being Mo.
Exactly, because he has had, to your point, he's had a very long leash, in previous, or in general with Liverpool, because he's been the guy. But his confidence, not even just his confidence, like his performances just haven't been good the past couple of weeks, and that's why obviously he didn't start today. You could make the excuse that he just hasn't been playing well, and Klopp sees that and it's like, no, I'm not going to start you today. I think he needs to have a short leash, because we have guys that have stepped up today at least, and show that they want to continue to step up.
Absolutely. So the bold statement from Jurgen paid off today. It paid off. And that leads us, Nick, to who is your man of the match?
It's hard. I hate to do like the chalky thing here, but I still have to go with Trent. I mean, I don't really. I mean, you can make the. I could have made the case for Diogo just because of how good he was in the second half with his movement and whatnot. Got the goal, but I just think that what Trent did today was something that was so refreshing, because we've missed it, that you can't overlook it, right? And how important he is for this team. So it's Trent for me. It's chalky, I know, same guy I did in the first half, but he was my man of the match.
I'm going to. I have a couple people that I want to point out. My man of the match, and I'm kind of going there because I think this person needs to get a little bit of love, and I think it can't be understated. My man of the match is Alisson.
Yeah, no, you can see that he made big saves as well to keep us in the game at 2-1. So I agree.
Alisson made some saves today where they probably, like I said, they weren't. They're not going to make the goalkeeper of the year reel. They were saves that needed to be made at the time they needed to be made, and they were really big saves that kept us in the game, really kept us in the game. And so for me, it's Alisson. But I also want to say that I was really close, Nick. I was really close. My man of the match was almost going to be Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, I mean, because he got it right. I mean, that you wouldn't be. I think that we forget that we can include him. But yeah, I mean, he to your point, you can really. I guess you can call it an experiment. The experiment today worked very, very well. Whereas had it not, like we spoke about in the first half, everyone would be thinking about this Fulham game and the lineup had it not worked out. But it worked out.
Absolutely. And, when I was looking at the end of the game, when I was kind of trying to figure out my man of the match, the first two players on my list were were not offensive players. It was I went with Allison. My next person was Virgil. I thought Virgil had a really good game today. I really thought he was strong.
Yep, agreed.
And so, I think a lot of times we always look for, who was the most offensive. But these guys, if you don't have Virgil being immense and Allison making the saves, it doesn't matter what the offense is doing.
Agreed. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it's it's good. Again, I feel like it's been so long since we talked about a win. I mean, I'm not counting the Atalanta game being a win because we won 1-0. We lost 3-1 on aggregate, so it's not a win. But it is refreshing to see, especially going into a huge game on Wednesday, because Everton, they're still in a sense not mathematically safe from relegation themselves. So Wednesday's game is huge for them. It's the Merseyside derby. We know how big it is in general. So I mean, there needs to be another statement win on Wednesday.
Well, here's what it is. It's down to, like you said, it's the 244th Merseyside derby. We're playing at Goodison Park. Goodison Park and Anfield are
like a block away from each other. I've seen them
maybe a mile away.
Yeah.
If you're born in Liverpool, you're either a red or you're a blue. Fortunately for me and you, we're reds. And so I cannot understate how much I despise Everton and pretty much everything about them, starting with their goalkeeper, who to me is an absolute thug and a punk. And I don't know, there's a lot of descriptive words. But anyway, so that's coming up on Wednesday. What Liverpool did today was make this fun. It made me still believe it. I mean, we're looking at a situation now, Nick, where we are level on points with Arsenal. They have us on goal differential. City's right behind us with 73 points. Liverpool and Arsenal are going to have, because of the FA Cup semifinal, we're going to have 2 games in before Man City's back in the Premier League on Thursday.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of weirdness still out there in front of us.
Yeah, and not just that. I mean, Arsenal's next game is against Chelsea, and Chelsea's been, they lost yesterday in the FA Cup semifinal to City, but that was expected, right? I mean, City's City when it comes to that regard. But in a game of magnitude like a London derby that is Arsenal-Chelsea, I mean, you just never know. Would you say that Arsenal is the favorite? 100%. But with the form that Cole Palmer has been in for Chelsea, you just never know, because he's been the guy to make something out of nothing happen for Chelsea. He's been a revelation of a signing for them. He's the guy they go to where it's like, save us, please, and he's done it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in that game.
Absolutely, and that game's on Tuesday. So that game is. We will know Wednesday what's happening by the time the Merseyside's played. Final stats, Nick, just for those who like stats. Liverpool had 61% of the possession. Fulham had 39. 14 shots total for Liverpool, 12 for Fulham. 7 on goal for us, 5 for them. 4 corners, Liverpool, 1 Fulham. And saves were equal at 4 apiece. So it's all to play for. They have given us belief again. For that, I am so grateful. A couple things happened today that were really good to see. The goals in the run of play. I can't state that enough.
Yeah, thank goodness. Yeah. The one thing I did want to say, and I had mentioned this real quickly before we get out of here, is the traveling fans from Liverpool are great, but how cruel are the Fulham fans for booing Harvey Elliott, a player that played for them when he was 16 years old? You're gonna boo a kid because he had decided to go play for his dream team, which was Liverpool. So you're gonna boo him when he's a little bit more of an adult coming back to play against you guys. He was a child when he played for you guys, and you're gonna boo him? He didn't really have a senior career with Fulham. It made no sense.
It made no sense. It was kind of a half-hearted. They had no cheering for their own team, so even the booing was half-hearted because they couldn't even get that right and booing the right way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
it's just
mean,
crazy. It's like this guy had the chance to go to Liverpool as a teenager. I mean, of course he's going to do that.
absolutely.
I don't think he made one senior appearance for Fulham, and you're going to boo him because he was in your academy. It's just
Right.
crazy.
That was crazy. Anyway, one quick thing, and we are gonna get out of here. Fulham. I had this written down. I wanted to make the last time Fulham beat Liverpool at Craven Cottage was 12 years ago. So we now added to that little bit of a streak, and that was kind of a fun little fact. I think Clint Dempsey scored in that game.
Yeah, he was a player for them. I mean,
That's a throwback.
Yeah, he was their guy for a second, you know.
Yep. So anyway, final thoughts, Nick. Are you got them all in? Are we good?
Got them all in. Looking forward to keeping this momentum heading into Wednesday. By Wednesday we'll see what happens in the Arsenal game, and then Thursday, like you had said, City against Brighton, which, I'm not expecting Brighton to get much out of that, but again, you just never know.
Well, it's great to have you back, Nick. I tried to hold the fort down. I did the best I could, but I certainly missed having you with me.
No, it was good. I think you did. I mean, plus it was a doom and gloom episode anyway you had to do, so I'm glad you did it by yourself.
All right. Well, for Kopites Calling, for Dave and Nik, you'll never walk alone.